Hey guys, it's the King and welcome back to another Clash Royale video. Before we get started with the video today, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. Why? Because I am going to be giving away more iTunes and Google Play gift cards in upcoming giveaways. So make sure you have your notifications on so you know when the video will be up. In today's video, I'm going to be kind of meshing two different series together, my Road to 4,000 series and my Top Player series, which I'm just now starting, and this is the first guy that I'm featuring. His name is Rashab of Indian Yoda. He told me to go ahead and call him Lucifer in this video, so that's what we're going to do. And he hit 4,000 trophies, guys, as a level 9 player. Now, he is currently a level 10 player, still sitting atop 4,000 trophies and going along from season to season. He was kind enough to come into the clan and give me some replays so that we could see what some of his decks were. I did have a few questions, so I'm going to do a little bit of the Q&A with you guys today. And the first thing that I asked him was, what deck did he use to get him to 4,000 trophies as a level 9? Because, I mean, that's pretty insane, right, guys? So he told me that he used a bowler graveyard deck to get to 4,000 trophies as a level 9 player, but now he's using a trifecta deck at 4,000 trophies and seems to be doing very, very well with that as well. So in the background here, you guys are going to be seeing some of the replays that he was able to show us, and some of these were on the ladder, some of these were in grand challenges, so he gave us a variety of situations that he's used these decks in and had great success with. Now, one thing I asked him was, what tips do you have for players that may be just starting the game or for players that have even been playing for a while? And he gave me 3 good tips that he would tell anybody from his experiences. And the first one is, he says, don't play a lot at one time. He says, play until your slots are full or until you have completed your crown chest. Now, I know the opinion on this subject varies from who you may talk to, but hey guys, when you talk to these top players, they've been around the block before and they know what they're talking about. So the second tip that he had was, stick to one deck and practice that one deck only over and over and over again. He says changing decks and changing your cards out constantly will cause you nothing but trouble and nothing but frustration. And I can tell you firsthand, guys, I know exactly what he's talking about because I've done it before, and you know what? I'm still guilty of doing that sometimes. It does cause you a lot of frustration because you're trying to change your card out, you're trying to change this card, you're trying to change this deck because you're seeing a whole lot of Lava Hound or you're seeing a whole lot of Golem decks or something like that, and that goes into the whole matchmaking system that Clash Royale has. Sometimes you're going to come across, 5 decks in a row where you see the Lava Hound, and then you're not going to see it after that. So it just, depends and just varies on what the game's throwing at you, but don't change your deck. Instead, learn to defend what you're seeing a whole lot better with the cards that you have. He said the third tip that he would give somebody would be to only upgrade the cards that you're actually going to use. If you don't use Mortar, if you don't use, certain cards, don't upgrade those cards. It's a waste of your gold, really. He says save your gold. Don't upgrade the cards that you're not going to use. Only upgrade the cards that you are going to use. So even if you have 3 different decks and you have, 8 different cards in every single deck, just upgrade those cards because those cards are the most important cards for you. So I asked Lucifer, I said, how long did it take you to get from 3,000 trophies to 4,000 trophies? And he said it took him about a month and a half. And you got to remember, again, guys, this is, not playing a whole lot at a time. He would play, a few matches, set the game down, come back to it later or come back to it even the next day. So he was doing this gradually. It wasn't like he, played for hours on end at one time. And that's the first tip that he gave us, is not to do that. You don't want to do that because your mind gets fatigued, and this is a game of absolute concentration, and you need to concentrate every single time you battle. You've got to have your utmost concentration on that game. So one reason why he says to play for short periods of time is because once you've won over and over and over and over again, the game will start to match you against decks that maybe your deck is not supposed to beat, or just harder opponents. This is what we call tilting. When you hear of a guy tilt and lose, 300 trophies, 400 trophies at a time, it's because they get frustrated. They lose those first few matches in a row, they get frustrated, and then they start pressing, and then they start making a ton of mistakes. I'm guilty of this. I know a lot of you guys are guilty of this, and this is what the game is all about. And they also do not want to make the game too easy. They want the game to be challenging to you. So I asked him a question that I know a lot of you guys have had. I know I have struggled with it at times too myself, is when should I be aggressive? When do I be kind of passive? It depends on the game and it depends on the deck. So what he says is, if you are playing a chip cycle deck, he says never let him attack you properly. Don't let your opponent attack you properly. Keep the pressure on him. Break up his combos. Force him to break his combos. He said another great thing about using a chip cycle deck is usually they are cheap in elixir, and you can cycle through your cards over and over again a whole lot quicker than your opponent, so you're actually making positive elixir trades, but you have to make a lot of decisions as well. And you can defend at the same time you're attacking. So that's a really, really good thing to be able to do, instead of using a beatdown deck, which is slow, and you do have less decisions you have to make. But a beatdown deck, it takes a whole different style of play. So another thing I asked him was, when you start to feel like you're going to tilt, when you feel like you're going to lose, you're in one of those matches where it just looks like neither opponent is really going to do anything. He said the main thing to do is to make sure you don't lose first and foremost, and just play that match to a draw. It's a lot better than losing trophies. Now some of you may say, you know what, I need to play a lot at one time if I'm going to try to help my clan complete these clan crown chests. And although that may be true, if you have a lot of active members in your clan, then everybody should be able to do, the regular thing of getting your own crown chests, maybe a little bit more, make sure your slots are full, and then stop playing, and your clan should still be able to complete the clan crown chest. Now, one cool thing that Lucifer did when he was in the clan with me is he was able to play a few friendly battles with me, and he was able to help me a little bit with the trifecta and understand a little bit more of how that particular deck works. And you know what, guys? At 2.9 elixir, I like it. It's a fast deck. It's fast-paced. It keeps your opponent on their toes. He was able to go through with me and tell me a little bit about some of the mistakes that I was making. And one mistake that I was making is I was wasting elixir. Another thing is you have to make sure that, okay, I have this particular card coming in on my opponent, the Elite Barbarians or whatever. Know what cards that you need to counter that without overdoing it. So many times, you want to counter that particular card, and you lay this down, you lay that down, and then you lay something else down that you really didn't even need to lay down. You wasted elixir. So now you don't have that card. Let's say it was an Ice Golem, or something like that. You don't have that card now to go on a counterattack. So one main thing that you guys have got to understand, and I've said this in past videos that I've done, is you have to understand the damage that each card does and how much damage it's actually going to do. If you have minions coming in, and I'm not talking about minion horde, I'm just talking about minions, is that really a big threat to your tower? No, it's not. Not by itself. Maybe if it has a tank in front of it or something tanking for it, like say the miner, then yes, it can be a card that's going to do a heck of a lot of damage. But by itself, it's not really that much of a threat. So these are some of the things that you have to take into account when you're going through a battle, and when you're faced with that particular situation, is understanding the damage that some of these cards do by themselves. So let's go back to Lucifer's second tip, which was what? Which was stick to one deck and practice that only. Okay, this is something you can do in friendly challenges. You know what? Pick the top dog in your clan to go up against. Why am I saying that? Because you want to go up against the absolute best. That's the only way you are going to get better. So take that deck that you're trying to learn, take the deck that you want to practice, and go up against the best person in your clan over and over and over again. Even if you get your butt kicked, even if you lose, you want to do that because that is going to make you better. And that person being in your clan, I'm sure they are going to help you and say, hey, you know, this is what I'm seeing. This is what you're doing. You should have done this here. Here you could have done that. So they can give you pointers and tips and also help you just as much as some of these videos or some of the videos you may see of other YouTubers. A lot of times when you have that interaction inside your own clan, it can help you immensely. I was so grateful when Lucifer came into the clan, especially when he did the friendly battles with me, because it really allowed me to play someone that's been at 4,000 trophies. It really allowed me to get, you know, his perspective on maybe something I was doing wrong. And you know what? Those first number of battles weren't even close. I mean, he really destroyed me. And you know what? It was actually a good thing. I actually liked that because you know what? It gave that challenge to me of saying, okay, hey, you know, this is a deck that I'm not, you know, used to or familiar with. You know, let me learn this from someone who has used this over and over again. And you know what? The very, very last battle we did, he did still win, but it was a whole lot closer and I did a whole lot better. And even though I lost, it still made me feel good that I was starting to get the hang of this deck. So, you know, you really want to do that, guys. You really, really do. So we can see here in this replay that Rashab, or Lucifer, we'll call him Lucifer, you can see here in this replay that he is playing that trifecta deck, and this is the deck that he was trying to show me and trying to get me to use, and I did actually use this deck on the ladder with some success. I used this deck on 2 of my accounts, one in Arena 8 and one in Arena 10, and did have success with it. And you can see here in this replay, he drops the Musketeer when he gets to 10 Elixir. He said he never drops the Musketeer unless he's at 10 Elixir. And now look at his push here. The perfect hog with the Ice Golem in front, the Musketeers following up. There's the Fireball to do a lot of damage to those 3 Musketeers. And his Musketeer was doing a ton of work behind that Hog Rider. So watch what he does here. The Ice Spirit onto the Knight, and he let his tower finish taking those Musketeers out. Again, that goes back to what I was talking about, is not overplaying and not, you know, most people would have maybe dropped another card or thrown the log or whatever to take those Musketeers out, but it would not have been necessary because the tower was able to do it. Now he comes in, he zaps the skeleton army. He's got his Ice Golem down going on to the other side. So now he's going to trade towers here. He's going to go ahead and throw the Fireball over on the left tower to do some damage to the Musketeer and to take the tower out. And then he's going to go ahead and drop his cannon down to try to defend against that Knight and those other 2 Musketeers there. Those 2 Musketeers are going to lock onto the tower and take it out. He's going to throw the Miner in for extra damage on the tower, but you can see the Musketeer had locked onto the Ice Golem, but the Miner is going to go ahead and finish the tower off. But here is what separates an average player from a player that has been around the block, let's just put it that way. He throws the Musketeer down over on the left, throws his Ice Golem and Hog on the right, and what does this do? It forces those 3 Musketeers to not split up, to stay together. He's able to fireball those 3 Musketeers. That was huge. So his opponent's going to come in with a Miner on the left-hand tower, but he's going to throw the Ice Spirit down to freeze that, let his King Tower and the other tower take it out. He's already cycled back to a Musketeer on the right side, got the Ice Golem down, throws a cannon down, and that's one great thing about this deck is that in double Elixir, it cycles so fast. He has another Musketeer down, was able to throw the Hog Rider down, Ice Spirit down. He's going to get a few hits on the tower here. You know, it cycles so quick. So he's going to go ahead and zap that skeleton army away. Got another cannon down, throws his Musketeer down to take out the Miner. So he's going to go ahead and let his Elixir build up a little bit here. He's going to go ahead and throw the Ice Golem down behind the King Tower. He wants to throw the cannon right in the middle, and as he does, his opponent lays the 3 Musketeers down. He's able to fireball and take all of that out. Now he's got his Ice Golem pushing up on the left-hand lane. He's going to throw the Hog and another Ice Golem in the right-hand lane. He's going to get some work done to that. He's also thrown his Musketeer in the sweet spot, as I'll call it, right in the middle, locked onto the tower, and that is the game. So this next replay that Lucifer wanted to show us was done in a grand challenge. It was done against a Graveyard Freeze deck. And that is a deck that is pretty popular, just like the Lava Loon, as a lot of people will call it now. So, you know, it's a good thing that he gave us a lot of variety of some of the replays so that you guys can see, you know, how to counter and how to play against some of these real popular meta decks. So his opponent comes in right off the bat with an aggressive Graveyard to start the game off with, and there's the freeze. But he had the cannon down, he had the Musketeer down, he also had a little Ice Spirit that he threw in there. He defended very well, and of course his opponent gives him a well played. And you'll see here he's building up his own push with the Hog, the Musketeer, the Ice Golem. His opponent throws down the Inferno Tower and the Skeleton Army. And you know what? He doesn't really do any damage to the tower, but not all of your pushes are going to do damage. Sometimes it's just, you know, a matter of trying to fill your opponent out and try to see what cards they have, especially early in the match. And that's the key. You have to figure out what cards they have. So at this point in the match, one thing he has already figured out is how his opponent wants to win, and that is Graveyard and Freeze. So as we talked about earlier, it's also a thing of giving positive elixir trades, and I know that you guys have heard that time and time again with other YouTubers and a lot of people that have played the game, but you know what, guys, it is absolutely so true. This game is built on one thing and one thing only, really, and that is elixir. Yes, there are troops and they do different things and they have different elixir costs and everything, but that's what I'm talking about, is everything is built on elixir, and you have to have positive elixir trades. You always want to try to stay ahead of your opponent and not get behind. When you get behind, that's a lot of times when you will lose a match. You cannot keep up with your opponent. You've wasted elixir like he had talked about before, and that's what gets you in trouble. Guys, the best thing about this deck is how cheap the deck is at 2.9 elixir. This Hog Cycle deck, we're going to call it a trifecta deck because it's the new trifecta with your 1 elixir Ice Spirit, your Ice Golem, which is only 2 elixir. Both of those cards are excellent cards to have in almost any deck, really, but especially in these Hog Cycle decks, these Chip Cycle decks. They're great cards to have. They help you defend. They help Hog Riders get to the tower. Actually, honestly, they help Elite Barbarians get to the tower if you're using Elite Barbarians. But this deck, you know, here is one of those situations where his opponent is using the Graveyard. He's defending against the Graveyard. His opponent's still trying to use Grave and Freeze. And you know what? All he has to do, because it cycles so quick, is cycle right back to a Fireball, cycle again to another Fireball way before his opponent can lay down his win condition, and he's going to win. He wins there with the Zap, and that's all it takes. Get the tower down within Zap range or within Fireball range, and you've won the game. I cannot thank Rashab or Lucifer enough for stopping by, giving me his time, allowing us to see some of his replays, working with me personally. I thought that was outstanding, but most of all, allowing my viewers to see his perspective on the game and getting some of his tips and some of his wisdom about the game itself. In an upcoming video, I will have Jack 3 on, and he is from Alpha Reddit. He's an outstanding player. He just hit 5,005 trophies the other day, and we can learn a lot from him as well. So one last time, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so that maybe you can be the winner of the next giveaway. But most of all, guys, be well.